Reverend Bobby, you raise children. Would you recommend the teenagers and young 20 something, I'm like 22, 23, 24, would you recommend becoming a parent in your teens and your early 20s?
Well, I don't have anything against it. You know, some people have all of these phobias and, you know, bad kids having children young. The thing that becomes difficult is when you have children young and haven't had the opportunity yourself to live, you still want to do those things like go out, be with your friends, have some freedom. And once you have children, that part of your life is over because your child is now your #1 priority. Your #1 priority is the healthiness and the welfare of that child. If I have a recommendation to make, I would say, listen, live some, get your own life together, do some of the things that you would like to do, finish school so that you could get a decent career, you know, travel some, see the world, learn how to make some appropriate decisions in business and buying houses and doing those things to set yourself up so when you do bring children in the world, they will have a good chance, you know, to survive and a good chance to have a really healthy and successful life. Now, even when you have children young, okay, there's a lot of people I know have children, like, you know, a lot of my women friends had children young, 17, 18, some at 16. But they were smart enough to know that at that time, even though they still wanted to go out and do those things, they had to kind of cut back on that because they had those children, those babies, who were totally dependent on them. And a lot of times they struggled, and a lot of times they had to do it by themselves because at that young age, the men were too immature, you know, to settle down and come and be a part of that household and help them. So they had to do a lot of it on their own. They don't feel that they've missed out on anything. I mean, you know, we go out dancing, you know, these days. Don't run the streets like we could when we was 20, 21. We just don't have the energy. But, you know, if someone were to follow my recommendation, I would say wait until you have your life kind of under control before you bring another life in this world that you are totally responsible for because they are totally 100% no rap USDA dependent on you.
Reverend Bobby, we're almost done. Would you recommend young parents to send their children to public schools, charter schools, magnet schools, private schools? How do you pick a good school for your, or get the best out of a school for your children?
You know, whether it's public school, private school, charter school, a lot of those things depend on the financial capabilities of a family. There's nothing wrong with your kid going to public school, but the one thing you're going to have to do to make sure that they get the education that they need, to make sure that the resources that are available for them are applied to each individual student, your child in particular, and all the children in the schools. You have to be involved and you have to be a presence at that school. See, most of the time, Mark, these days people send their children to school and use it for a babysitting service. The parents themselves are young, so they don't have the right outlook and they don't value school in the way that it should be valued. But even if you're young, even if you didn't have an opportunity to finish school or do school the way that you know, really wanted to, number one, like I said before, those children are your #1 priority, so you got to give up a lot of the things that are important to you outside of those children. Be involved with the school, go on the school trips with them, learn their teachers, learn the counselors, learn the principal, make yourself available. And the one thing you got to do is, if something happens where your child, you know, gets in a situation, don't go out there wanting to beat up the principal. Don't go out there wanting to beat up the teacher because they call home on your child. Go out there with an open mind. Listen, because the teachers and the principals and the counselors are all in place to be supportive of your child being successful. So in Reverend Bobby's most humble opinion, it doesn't matter, public school, charter school, private school, Catholic school, university, lab school, special programs, as long as you, the parent, are involved, and as long as you, the parent, are supportive and mindful as to, you know, what your children need to be getting done. You know the teachers. A lot of the schools have websites up. They put the children's activities and assignments on the website. Log on, look at them. My son was great for, oh yeah, I did my homework. He ain't did nothing. So, I'm just being truthful with you. So what you got to do is kind of be mindful, monitor your children and what they're supposed to be doing. You don't have to ride them like a whipping horse or anything, but you know, check on them, make sure they're getting their schoolwork done, be involved in the school, know the teachers, and like I said before, if you get a call where your child is acting out, man, do not go out there with your mindset on jumping on and beating up the teacher and the principal because they interrupted you at home doing whatever you're doing that probably you ain't supposed to be doing. And you know, listen, be attentive, and be supportive of the school and of your children.
Any closing comments? We're done.
Any closing comments? Mark asked for me any closing comments. Listen. When I was sitting out in Giant Rockets with my daughter recently that graduated high school, she was telling me that some of the guys that got appointments to the Naval Academy and the Military Academy, some of them had enlisted in the Marines, and she said, Daddy, you know, if they go to war, they could be killed. And I said, yeah, baby, they could. And she went on to say that a lot of her friends that she played with and loved and did things with over her 4 years of high school, she could possibly never see them again. And I said, yeah, baby, you're right. And she looked at me with this kind of smile, terrorized look on her face and said, Daddy, am I growing up? And I said, yeah, baby, you are. And at that moment when she asked me that, it came to mind how many people I know on the downhill slide to 60 or 60 that just got older but never grew up. Give yourself and your children the opportunity to grow up, become adult. I can count my adult relationships on 2 hands. And don't just be sitting out here getting old. Do something with your life and allow them the room to do something with theirs. Reverend Bobby is out.